Gaming with Boomers! Yow. Welcome back to our Let's Play adventure here on Gaming with Boomers. We are playing another episode of Victoria 3 and doing the country of Japan. Right now, as you dive right back in, we are on the verge of a revolution. Some of the samurai class within our political structure wanted to have colonial exploitation. Now, I warned everyone on the previous episode that that came with some inherent risks, mostly from a rebellion from the Shogunate and the Hanin. And that's exactly what happened. So, with that in mind, I have no interest in this current time, as we are very politically unstable at the time, to kind of start worry about something that doesn't have any direct influence on us as far as kind of gameplay in this early game. I'm just going to go ahead and prevent a large-scale civil war, and I'm going to uproot this law. Fortunately, because when I cancel it, the Shogunate isn't going to jump, not the Shogunate, the samurai are not going to lead their own rebellion to put it into practice because their support isn't that high and the radicalism is even lower. I'm just going to go ahead and not risk a revolution, and we're going to jump right back into our game. As I explained kind of in the previous episode, as we start this campaign, you can kind of see a little bit of the Dawn of Wonder DLC that's being broadcasted here on the channel. You can see here some of the features include various kind of artistic options you can add to your game under the Theme tab, which is found under your pause menu. It includes different styles, including French, the traditional Victorian, and this Dusk and Dawn royal purple color. You can change the style of map that you use in game, the tabletop, the colors that you can use for the tabletop that's displayed here, as well as the individual objects that you can have on your little table. The ones that I selected a Tainu statue, which is sort of a Polynesian statue. It's located here. I included a pocket watch here and a candle. So these are just the different little features, little cosmetic changes you can have in your game, and you can customize them to your heart's content. There's unfortunately not a whole lot of options as far as, and I'm sure that'll change in later games, but it's just a cool little feature that they have just to add a little bit more personalization. The other part that I find is really fascinating is if you zoom in. Oh, not going to have that option right now. If you zoom in, gosh darn it, okay, let me zoom in so you can actually see it. I'm sorry, folks. If you zoom in right now, due to the current time, because it is, I think what it is right now, because it's afternoon in Europe, and this is unfortunately set to, oh no, I don't know. I am totally confused. I think there may be a little bit of disconnect between the monitor here, as well as the, because right now it's saying it's daytime, but obviously it's not daytime. You see some of the features here is that when it's nighttime, as part of your circle hour day here, you have some cosmetic changes. Like it goes into a day and night cycle, and you'll be able to see lights on carriages and on different kind of little wagons as they go by. And as your nation industrializes, you'll start to see first it's railroads, and then eventually cars and airplanes and things like that will light up, as well as your cities. The more industrialized that they get, the more kind of lighting and different kind of visual-based cosmetic changes you'll see will evolve as your nation evolves. So, with that in mind, we're going to jump right back in. We're going to head and delete that law proposal, and we're going to jump right into our game. So let's take a look and see how everything is doing as far as our construction. In the previous episode, we were switching over between increasing the size of our industrial output, starting with tools. I think that's probably wood and tools and agriculture, the three most important in a lot of these early games, early game playthroughs. It's starting your workforce from the bottom up. So starting from moving them from the peasant class into a limited skill sort of agricultural class, laborers, farmers, and other agricultural workers, and eventually as your nation progresses as far as its industrialization is concerned, you'll start to see machinists and more skilled labor that'll eventually start to affect your politics. So in the meantime, in the early game, we are just kind of focused on building up the foundations of basic industry with a little bit of specialization, but mostly, again, kind of reinforcing the agricultural state as we begin these early phases. So with that in mind, we are increasing our tool production to right now we kind of have more production than we have consumption, which is good because tools, as you industrialize to a higher level, you're going to need more and more tools and more specialized tools. So moving away from just crude wooden tools, eventually as we increase our industrial sectors, starting with our construction sector, then start to build more kind of specialized industries, mines and industrial factories, especially the production of steel, is going to be extremely important. So right now in this early game, I'm focused on increasing tools in general, and then increasing our availability for wood, and then moving into agriculture. So that's sort of the plan for the early game, and then kind of very limited, that's not a correct word. For the time being, kind of letting politics take a back seat. I'm more, in this particular thing, more interested in ensuring that politically we don't have a government that is not in place. So let's see here. The Buddhist monks would add some stability. The Heinen would not. So right now, let's keep it just to keep everybody happy. Right now, we would have to keep the samurai out of the political sphere. So right now, just to keep everybody happy and for the sake of increasing... Ooh, that's going to add some... If we do that, that is going to affect... Let's keep it about here. It's not great. It's kind of right above the middle here. As if we were to take off the samurai unfortunately right now have a lot of support, which would add to a lot less loyalists and a lot more radicals. So right now at the time, keeping sort of this political equilibrium is important. Like I said, I'm not right now overly concerned with changing law. I'm more interested in building up industry will then sort of, it'll kind of alter politics a little bit more naturally without kind of just diving straight into completely upheaving the Japanese political system. Because right now there's not much change. Right now it's still building up more of an agricultural class. So eventually the agricultural class is going to get powerful until they start trying to transitioning into more industrial workers, and you'll start to see kind of the rise of industrialists and perhaps the trade unionists. So let's see here. It looks like our wood industries are doing fairly well. I believe right now we're still running a profit. Yep, running a heavy little, nice little profit here in Chubu, excuse me, which is, I believe, the sort of middle island, where you have the cities of Nagoka, Fukui, Takasaki, Yokohama, and Edo. Oh, that's Kanto. Okay. Forgive me, too, if we have any fans here in Japan. I apologize for my pronunciations if they're not correct. And I will try my best to be more mindful of that. If, for some reason, I mispronounce anything in this game, I would love some comments to let me know how to properly pronounce things. Let's take a gander. Let's see. So slowly moving. We're slowly starting to do. Alright, so we have a new event. Let's take a look here. A duel between Yozo Tori, which is a general who supports the traditionalists and the shogunate, and Kon Ogata, which is a intelligentsia politician. We can let them fight, and it's probably looking that Kon would die. We can stop it, and they'll get tarnished honor. So both of them, their popularity will... Or we can go ahead and just ban dueling altogether, which will increase the approval of the intelligentsia, but sort of upset the traditionalism of the shogunate. Right now, rather than both just lose popularity, I'm not willing to add kind of unnecessary approval ratings just because right now it doesn't help me politically. So we're just going to stay kind of in the political neutral and just say, you know, they just need to calm down. They need to solve their differences through the art of interpretive dance. I don't know. Let's see. Let us continue. Right now, urban-wise, let me take another look at my market, see what is trending as far as expensive. It looks like wheat is very cheap, while looks like we're still very heavy on the fruit. So right now, it looks everything right now, the fruit-wise, is just being produced by a few farms and some substance orchards. I believe that under our rice farms, that we are going to increase by a very significant amount, we are increasing to fig orchards. So let us make sure that very soon we start to finish these. How are we looking tool-wise as far as price? That may be something that we can technically put on the back burner. They're roughly about same price. And we're just right at basically an equilibrium. Basically, sell in and buy in. Sell out, buy in. Right now, we're kind of perfect. Right now, tools aren't something that's used by the general population, so it's not a population need. Right now, it's only strictly kind of held to these livestock. And as tools become more useful as we increase our farming apparatus, let's take a look and see. Wood-wise, still a very large consumption deficit. So right now we're producing only about 60 through our logging camps. Most are still coming from these wood substance rice paddies, which are going to be your peasant populations. I want to almost completely shift that. I want all of my wood production to come from logging camps. So we start to kind of limit the power that these peasant communities have. So, with that in mind, I believe we can go ahead for the time being. We have a steady supply of tools. We're going to go ahead and move these to the bottom of our list. All right, what button? There. Oh, I hit the wrong key. Okay, that's all right. We're going to move these to the bottom. I want to bring that logging cap back to the top. What am I doing? Alt click. Top of the queue. Okay. Alright. Oh, I see what I did. Okay. Well, that's alright. Okay. Tooling workshop. Alright. Okay. Here we go. All fixed. Alright. Let's start building these logging camps and then pushing into our agriculture. Let's take a look as these different relations go. How are our relations with China? So right now they are pretty good. Some guy got exiled. He's a pacifist. He wants to enact national militia. Does not help me in the slightest. Let's see. She's kind of a resettlement. She is a Northern Italian Catholic, probably a feminist. Fortunately, because of our... Right now we have one, and basically because of our thing, that's not going to help us politically. Okay, so we have a new... What do we just have? We have some new agricultural changes. So let's take a look at our rural options. We can now do enriching fertilizer. So we can now have fertilizer. For that, we were going to need. We can get more grain. The price of grain will go down. Laborers will go down. Farmers increase, but we need to have an influx of fertilizer, which I don't believe we have anything that produces fertilizer. So we need chemical plants. Right now, so I don't believe it's in my best interest to increase it until we have more of a desire with, especially, and we'll have also, I forgot, that these, so we went to grazing ranch, these farms that I've been using will also excavate fertilizer. So I need to make sure under all of my rural things that I set that to intensive grazing ranches. So that's going to increase the cost of grain because you have to feed the cows. But then as you also increase rice and grain plantations, it'll balance out. So we're going to have less laborers and more farmers, which works for me. Let's do that. Let's also look at soil enriching farming. It looks like fertilizer is still going to get expensive, but grain will shoot down. So let's play with this a little bit. Let's see if we can naturally affix it. In the worst case, if I need to build some fertilizer camps, I can do that as well. So with that in mind, let's take a gander at where we are. Let's get a few things built, and I believe they'll be next time after that. Looks like right now, because of that, we now have a shortage. What is the cost? Ooh, it shot up to 131 buy orders. So right now, wood is not the main priority, but it's okay. Alright, so we now have workshops for our mills, lathe for furniture, and various forms for glass and such. Okay, so wood is starting to come down, staying about the same. We're now starting to reach sort of a equilibrium. Let's see. Cause without a rebel. It's a play on rebel without a cause. Although he's still fighting for his cause, no one is following him anymore. Despondent Yamakawa started publicly remarking that he may give up his activism. Perhaps he can find greener pastures, or we can go ahead and have him do a new approach. Right now, I believe we did what we needed to. Unfortunately, there's not enough support right now for colonial resettlement, so I believe it's time for him to go. It's not important at the time being. Okay, let's see. Right before we end here, let me go ahead and I'm going to push to increase, as our fertilizer is getting incredibly expensive, I'm going to go ahead and push these to the top of our list. Go ahead and get those built. Then we can continue with building our wood and our other agriculture. So I may go ahead and put these on that top of that list and then move the livestock up. So let's do that. There we go. Logging rice, perfect. Okay. So now in the order of our importance, we're going to go ahead and start building our livestock ranches and then moving into rice farms and wood. So with that in mind, thank you for staying tuned. If you want to see longer episodes on the channel, I know with some of our shows we're kind of keeping them a little short. But if you want to see longer playthroughs, we don't have to stop as much, be sure to comment and let me know that you want to see longer episodes. Or if you like them kind of short, comment and say that too. Be sure to like and subscribe while you're there as well, and check out our other content on our channel. But with that in mind, thank you for joining me on another Victoria 3 adventure here in the country of Japan. We hope to see you soon for another part. And until then, I say adieu.